All right, welcome to Quick Fix Golf and another episode of a clique golf hysteria with a bunch of lunatics that all love golf and want to learn more about it. And Darren DeMailey, who heads up South Carolina, is nice enough to bring on his good friend Wayne Player. So, Darren, why don't you go ahead and
Yes.
introduce Wayne to everybody?
Yeah, it's I'm really happy that Wayne is on the show. Wayne and I have spent quite a bit of time when I was working at the Bears Club back in the early 2000s, and Wayne has been a real influence on me, not only professionally but he's been a really good friend. And Wayne is he's got a new venture that he's partaking in, and I wanted to do everything I could to help him out because he's been so good to me with the Player Amateur Tour. Wayne, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Player Amateur
Hold on
Tour?
first. Did you practice this entire routine that you just did? Did you practice that all day?
No. Did I leave something out? Did I leave something out?
I'm going to open up the microphone later so some of the guys can ask the questions so I know they want to. But if you don't mind, before we get to that, can I ask Wayne? Wayne, you've seen it all in your years from following your dad and everybody else you've been around and what have you. If you were talking to a high school kid, what would you tell them the differences are today than they were back then? And what should they be doing to be
Well, I
successful?
mean, at the end of the day, and I don't want to sound too old-fashioned and soppy, but the fact of the matter is that the game of golf is all about dignity and pride and good behavior and good morals and ethics, and they need to stick with that because that's what the game personifies, 100%. I mean, when I started playing golf, we took our hats off when we went into the inside. We never put our hat on. We didn't have a hat on when we were eating. And we knew how to behave, dress well, and that's what the game personifies, man. But that's what it's all about. I mean, what else can I say? And they have to stick with tradition. It's like Wimbledon. Wimbledon, everybody wore white, and now today everybody wears different colors. Tradition is good, and that is what will help golf keep going, and that's what keeps the younger generation totally focused at what they're doing and enjoying the game of golf and helping them to be better people. Does that make sense?
Here, here. I mean, that's something that Darren and I both talk about when we're talking to the students we have. I mean, we've got some really, really good young players up here in Virginia too that were on the state championship team this past year. And I tell them, I say, look, more important your grades, how you behave, how you act, the relationships you're going to build, especially if you go on to play college golf and you're going to get to know different players. They're just a different group. And they're going to be successful people in the future. Whether you become a great player or not is one thing, but another thing is to become, the kind of right person. Just like we were just talking about your dad.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, as you say, I mean, very few of these young players are going to become great golfers. Okay, but at the end of the day, they're going to go out in the business world. They're going to go out in this big, wide open world, and the game of golf is going to help them, in a serious way. I mean, but it's the way that they are going to behave, because trust me, that's what it's all about. It's the way you connect with people. It's the good manners you have, and that's how I connected with Darren. And let me tell you something about Darren. The first time I ever saw him, I was on the range at the Bears Club, and I have this golf grip, and we call it T-ball for golf, and you cut the shaft off about 1 inch below the actual grip, and you stick it in the ground. You put a tee in the top, so your ball's teed up about 14 inches high. And I was ripping it out there, and Darren said, "Wayne, what the hell are you doing?" And that's how we connected. It's all about T-ball for golf. It's being out of the box in our thinking and how you try and help people. And that's that's how we connected. And Darren bought into this 100%, man. He was like all in.
Well, Darren's a people person, and that's that's the business we're in as golf professionals. We're actually if you're not a people person, you don't belong in this business.
Exactly.
And I see some of these guys with their nose in the air and they're extra cool because they happen to be the pro at XYZ Country Club. I say, you're there to serve the members. You're not there to be the coolest guy on the block. You're there to serve and make them have an enjoyable experience.
Exactly. I mean, we've actually sort of forgotten Darren, so maybe we should get him into this picture here. Darren, are you still there?
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm enjoying the compliment.
They're so few and far between that, he's really lapping it up. You want to have thick skin and hang around us. I'm telling you. But what about the golf swing? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Darren.
No, I mean, everything that you guys said is right on. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's about character, and when you put your head on the pillow, you know what your character is.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've tried to live my life. I'm a helper. I always put myself second, and that's why I think I'm successful.
I tell you one thing, Bob. Darren, you should get the, no question, the Golf Pro of the Year award. I've never met a finer young guy in all my life than you, Darren. Trust me, and I'm not just saying this because we're on the air. But, you are state of the art, brother. Whoever you work for, they need to give you a raise right now.
Well, he's ruining his reputation now because he's hanging around with me. He's going straight downhill. Straight downhill. Sometimes this whole Black Knight thing, you see, I'm coming out with my own logo. I'm going to have a white burrito, you see, and I'm going to get Juan Valdez to sit on the burrito.
I love it, man. I love it.
But, what about the golf swing? Have you seen anything different now than you did in the past? Is there really anything different?
Not really.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's on playing. Maybe there's more video, so a lot of these guys copy each other a lot more. But
there's not one way to skin a cat.
Yes.
Right. So there's lots of different ways to play the game, but we know that the game's evolved to being more level through the ball, more explosive, using the core rotation as opposed to the old Nicklaus leg drive or big hip turn, etc. But that can still work for you. I mean, look at
but you get them with a back operation.
There's a lot of unorthodox swings work. Well, but if you make $10 million a year, it's worth a bad back, right? I mean, think about it. So I don't know. I'm serious, Bob. I can't say that there's one hard and fast rule the way you have to go about swinging the golf club, but I think that's what the game has all evolved. I mean, my dad was way ahead of his time. He used to take a step past the ball if he was around for the Gary player step through.
Yep.
And, today that's still a great drill for people to use is to step past the ball, like the baseball pitcher. They always step towards home plate. And golfers tend to keep their head down too long or try to follow through as opposed to getting their core into gear and rotating up onto your front foot. And if anything, if you're going to lose balance, let it be forwards, not backwards. I mean, why? The quarterback doesn't want to throw it off his back foot, so why would a golfer want to be off his back foot, right?
Not if he plays for the Miami Dolphins. He throws it on his back foot all the time.
There you go. I've been a Dolphins fan for years, and, man, I'm just sucking wind.
Are you a Dolphins fan, too?
I have been. I'm a very loyal Dolphins fan. I've got, stickers on the car. I got flags flying. I've got the whole thing, man, but it just doesn't seem to get any good.
Well, I went to the very first game they ever played. And
terrible.
I've been a fan forever and played golf with a lot of the players, and it's now let's get on to something less depressing. What about that? And by the way, I see on your site here we have on the screen is Encore Golf. That ball is pretty darn good.
Yeah, the Encore Elixir is about as good as it gets. I mean,
I liked it.
It's hard to say a ball is better than a Titleist, but it certainly is good, and it's less expensive, and it performs as well, maybe better. So why wouldn't people use it? That's our official, that's our lead number one, sponsor that's coming to the Player Amateur Tour is Encore. They got the Elixir ball. Everybody gets a dozen Elixir balls and a great New Era hat when they sign up on the Player Amateur Tour.
Really?
We have a $300 value pack, and we got great sponsors, great partners who have forged locked arms with us, and we're going forward. And we're there for the amateur golf in a big way.
Well, here's Dennis Old Fat Man Duncan just texted in, just sent in on the chat. You guys, if you don't mind, I'm keeping the microphones closed for a little while, and you can just type in what you want to ask as a question or whatever. But he says, I currently hit the Encore Advent ball, and I like it. I hit that, whatever they call it, the Lexer or whatever it is. I liked it, too. I thought it was great. I really did. I'm not kidding around. I thought it was a really, really good ball.
Yeah.
It's a con,
Well, there are more and more people using the Elixir ball. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the brand awareness is key. I mean, Titleist has got the market, but Encore is doing a great job with the Alexa ball, and they've got a Genius ball which has a chip in it that tells you where the ball's going. It's got a GPS in it, and basically dials into your Bluetooth or whatever it is, takes you right to the ball, so you don't have to worry about finding the ball. But if you find it in the lake, you better have a wetsuit because you have to go diving. That's the only problem. So you need to play links golf with the Genius ball.
So tell us about the Player Amateur Tour. How does this go?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you
want me to click on anything here, by the way?
Idea. What's that?
You want me to click on anything here? Any information or something you want them to know about?
Yeah, I mean, they can go to, theplayertour.com.
I got it up here on the screen.
Theplayertour.com.
Right, playertour.com is on the screen.
Yeah, so they go to theplayertour.com. They can see all the information is right there before them. Okay. We're basically customizing, a fabulous opportunity for people to become members, post their scores, and be able to earn their way to fully paid for events, regionals, finals, and it's going to be a great opportunity. Reduction in prices. We've got all sorts of great partners where they get discounts on OGO bags, fabulous golf equipment, and the list goes on and on. I mean, we're there for, all of our members, as well as the fact that they have access to our mobile app, which gives you, access to some of my golf instruction. We're going to have health and fitness ideas, healthy alternative, basically situations where you can eat better, and the list goes on and on. Are you guys there?
We're here. We're listening. I'm moving this. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I see the screen. What's all that going on?
So I'm going straight down. It says Wayne Player Tour Commissioner.
Yeah, you just call me the commish.
The commish.
I'm like the Dean Beeman of the Player Tour.
Let me tell you what, you can't do any worse than he does.
I don't quite get the salary.
What was the other one? Tim Fincham? Was it?
Yeah,
Tim?
He's gone and forgotten.
Who happened? I hate to bring this one up, but I can't stand it. The guy says if the president of the PGA sends a text or something that says that Ian Poulter was a little girl. Was it Ian Poulter?
I don't know about that, but that's pretty funny. And
he got thrown out. He got impeached. He only had like 2 months left to go on his. Unbelievable.
Automatic.
He made the comment about Sergio.
No, it wasn't Sergio.
No, he made the comment about Sergio that he hit like a little girl.
No. Yeah, it was Ian Poulter.
Yeah, but Bob, the truth shall prevail. I mean, it's hard to tell the truth anymore. And that's the harsh reality. You have to be able to call a spade a spade. And
I know
we're
ridiculous.
What bathroom? We're unable to do that these days. I was on the Golf Channel on a show called On the Range, and I was on one night live on the Golf Channel, and we were doing this whole analysis of Sergio, and that is back when his attitude really sucked. He was not good. Right? I mean, he was like complaining about everything. Tiger's complaining. It just never ended, right? And, I basically said, my dad said the best thing that Sergio could do is spend a few nights in jail. That is like, he appreciate what he has. Do you know what happened? The Golf Channel fired me.
Really?
I got fired. Yeah, because they didn't like my comment.
Well, wait a minute, hold on. I got Sergio right here.
Basically, listen, I love Sergio. I think he's great.
He's right here. Hold on. La hostia. ¿Qué pasa con esto?
Put him on the line.
La hostia. Es la gran puta que lo parió. ¿Qué pasa?
Oh, dear.
Man,
anyhow, guys, look.
Sevillano was a big baby. Sevillano was in a room with him for a month. He was a big baby.
Oh.
His brother Manolo was the nicest guy. The nicest guy. But some of these kids, they've never done anything else but play golf their whole life. They don't learn what you talked about in the beginning, which is so important.
They don't get it. And that's why the Darrens of this world are so important, because they can help these kids. Kids can go along, sign up with Darren, put them into some great programming with some golf instruction. And it's not all about golf instruction. It's about attitude and, how you dress and your appearance and all that kind of stuff is so important, because these kids are going to go out in the big open world. And let me tell you, you arrive with a ring in your nose and in an earring in your ear and tattoos all over yourself, you're not getting the job.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to really look forward to it. I would dress all in black to be a little Gary Player for the day. I mean, I'm talking when I was 11, 12 years old, 13. And then I would try and dress like Ben Hogan, and I'd wear the Ben Hogan type hat, you know, and I'd try to emulate those guys. And
yeah, well, you were smart.
You know,
good.
I see people go to the golf course today. They look like they're going to mow the lawn or something. I said, what is the matter with you? You don't go to the golf course dressed like that.
No, of course not. Of course not. And so, you know, I mean, listen, you want to be sharp, man.
Of course.
You want to stay in great shape. You want to stay in great shape. You want to look good in your clothes. You know, you don't want to be a dancing donut. You want to look good.
I'm a dancing burrito right now.
Yeah, you got to get past the thinking stage of working out.
All right, that's it, boy. I'm not even going to bed tonight. I'm going right to. I'm going to start lifting weights the moment we get done. You've motivated me.
Yeah, it's a good idea. You'll sleep better.
Wow. Now, how much is it cost to join this?
Listen, we got this great. Listen, it's $240. Darren will give you a promo code called PAM, capital P, capital A, capital M, and you get $20 off. You get a $300 value pack of Alexa balls, beautiful New Era hat, and all sorts of other wonderful, you know, stuff. It's just great stuff that you'll use. It's not trashy stuff. It's excellent. It's a no-brainer. And we're actually customizing all sorts of events. Darren's going to be running scramble events at his club, all about the player amateur and about a great scramble. You remember the Oldsmobile scramble? Well, let me tell you, we're going to have a player scramble, and like it right at Darren's club, he'll have 4 events a year where his members can play in a scramble series, and whoever the winner is will go to the finals of his event. If they win that, they'll come to our finals and be able to basically win a trip to the Masters in 2019. Fully paid for trip to the weekend, the final weekend of the Masters in 2019. So we have all sorts of stuff going on. You could belong to the Golf Channel tour, but that's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money, man. You know, I mean, anybody can pay money to go play in events, but we're there for them all along, right along the way. We're here to stay. And let me tell you, it's an absolute no-brainer to sign up to the playertour.com.
All right, so then we can get information out to all the guys, right, Darren? We'll be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got a bunch.
We've got a lot.
And so when they put up $240, but they're going to get $300 worth of stuff plus.
Yeah,
easily.
Do they win prizes and stuff on these tournaments? And how do you control the handicap?
Well, we have algorithms and anomalies in place that basically detect any cheating. So we actually encourage all of our members to stay honest, to be honorable, because that's what the game's about. You need to play golf, keep your score, have somebody basically verify your score, sign off on it. You post it on our mobile site. If you don't have a handicap, we give you a handicap. If you have a handicap, your handicap can improve on our site. I mean, that's what it's all about. You want to cheat? I mean, there are always going to be some cheaters, but they'll be sourced out. You know what? You'll meet your maker, so don't worry about that. It's true, Bob. Come on, man.
My maker's somewhere in Havana. I don't know who the hell he is.
So look, I'm serious, man. Listen, this is I'm excited about this whole deal, and I know all of our team
I am
are.
too. That's why I told Darren, see if you can get Wade on, because I think this gives people a chance to play tournaments, right? You can play against anybody on the planet, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you go play golf. You're going to play golf anyhow. You may as well post your score and keep a score and post it on our mobile site, and earn your way into fully paid for events where you don't have to go. Where you go to our regionals fully paid for. And if you qualify, you go to Vegas for 6 days and 6 nights, fully paid for. I mean, at the Phoenician. You play the TPC Vegas and have a chance to win all sorts of great prizes and big money. I mean, it's just going to be amazing.
And look at this. What's this $1,000 discount on something? What's this Newcom system package?
Yeah, that'll put you in a state of what could I say? It's sort of mesmer. It's like You know, you could go to, let me think, how can I explain this?
I like that of the all-par.
You put these earphones on, and it like puts you in a trance.
Oh, wait
You
a
can
minute.
imagine
Hold on. I got a guy like that, Dr. Patrick Porter. We did. Now, listen, you got to hear this. You're not going to believe this. Patrick Porter owned a place called Positive Changes, and it was a hypnosis. And most of
Yes.
his clients were smoking and weight loss. And I was doing a golf show in Virginia Beach, and I said, "Hey, why don't we do one of these hypnosis shows where you make people, cluck like a chicken and everything?" I said, "Why don't we do golf related?" And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." We didn't rehearse or anything. We just went right out there, bang, and we had about 600 people all sitting there in the stadium. And the people were laughing so hard they were crying. He took one guy and he told him, he says, "You're in the Masters and you've hit your ball on the trees on the right, and you got to find your ball now, because if you don't, after 5 minutes, you get a 2-stroke penalty and you're going to lose the Masters." And then he'd snap his finger and he'd say, "Wait, this idiot was looking under every table. He was asking everybody, have you seen my ball?" We were laughing
Well,
so
there you
hard.
have it.
It was hilarious. Hilarious. And
Yeah.
I could go on and on and on, all the different things he did, but it was hilarious. And we should do that again.
It's all about visualization and trying to be in the moment.
Well, it's the way he explained it to me. It's called somnambulistic. People that are sleepwalkers are susceptible to being hypnotized.
I'm telling you. I mean, let me tell you. So there you have it. So they're using this product for all sorts of athletes who are trying to improve and be more positive and see what they want to do and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if all this stuff works, but it's a great product. I've tried it. It mesmerized me. I was fast asleep in a Starbucks once upon a time with the product on, and I was trying to think about all sorts of positive things, but it relaxed me, if anything else. I mean, I need relaxation.
Here it is.
We all do.
You are playing better. You will make this putt.
No. It's a Cinderella story.
You are relaxed.
Augusta, Georgia.
You will not grip the club like your mother-in-law's throat.
It's like Caddyshack. Bill Murray.
We're going to get all this information. Who's got a question? Hold on. I said we've got some questions coming in here, Mike. Does Mr. Players Tour have age brackets for competition?
No age brackets at all. And we have different divisions. So we have females who play in their own divisions, males that play in their own divisions. There's no age bracket. We're going to have all sorts of great stuff happening. We're in our infancy. So, for the $240 you spend, plus the $20 discount that you get with capital PAM, and all the product you're getting, you are just starting off. I mean, we're in this for the full ride, and there's no age restriction. What do you start? You want to retire from the human race because you're 85 years of age? I mean, my dad's 82. He's just getting going. You know what my dad said the other night?
What did he say?
My dad was watching the show on the PGA. Well, he was watching the PGA Tour one of the afternoons, like a Saturday or Sunday, and every second ad was about Cialis and at the end of every ad it says, if you have an erection for more than 4 hours, you need to seek medical help. Right? That's what it says.
Right.
So my dad turned to my mom. He says, "Hell, Viv," he says, "if I had an erection for more than 4 hours," he says, "I'm staying right home with you. I'm not going anywhere." He says,
I go anywhere.
Didn't you have like 7 brothers or sisters?
I've got not 7, but I've got 5 brothers and sisters.
5 brothers and sisters. Well,
I'll tell you another story. When I was at school, the kids used to tease me, and they used to say, "Why does Gary Player have so many children?" And you know what the answer was? Because he never misses the hole.
That's a good one. I got another question here.
It's all in good taste.
Steve Preston says, "Where is the tour located?" It's not located anywhere, is it not? You're just posting your scores from all over the country.
Yeah, no, we're global, right? So we're not global, we're national. And at the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference where you live, what state you live in. You can post your scores, you can belong, and you can actually put yourself in a situation where you get fully paid for trips to our finals, regionals, the whole 9 yards.
Now,
And that's what it's all about. We don't have any. There's no discrepancy on about how old you are or how young you are. If you can post the scores, get a handicap, and get onto our leaderboard status, and play well enough to earn your way to the events, that's where you're going to be. But we're going to have so many other events, scramble events, fun events at each and every golf club. You know, the golf clubs will be staging, you know, like 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 12 events a year, scramble events like at Darren's club, where guys can generate and earn their way to just fabulous, whether it's the US Open, PGA, Ryder Cup, all sorts of great stuff. So, you know, that's where we're going, man.
So we can do it at our, for instance, our Richmond. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the golf course we operate at, Pendleton Golf Club, was built by Tom Walker. He used to work for your dad.
Really?
Yeah, he was a designer for your dad.
Walker. Really?
Yeah, and he built a heck of a nice golf course.
Hopefully he got a good salary.
But we can run tournaments there, and I'll get with Jim Mason, who's the director of golf there. We'll get some kind of a special rate to have the scrambles and what have you there. Probably what we need is to have some kind of a banner or one of these feather things or something to put at the golf course to say you need to join the player tour.
Well, that's what we're doing. So, like, Darren will become or has become a brand ambassador. So the Golf Pro becomes a brand ambassador. He motivates the member to join. And when they join, they basically straight away get into scramble events that Darren's club will have. And, you know, if they the low score and they win their scramble events, they'll be able to generate and get themselves into finals and regionals and all sorts of things where it's fully paid for, and they get to go to the Masters and the US Open and all sorts of great events and get to play fantastic facilities and golf clubs, places that they have a hard time getting onto. And that's where we are. That's where we are. I mean, at the end of the day, people want to play fabulous places, don't they, Darren? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, come on. I mean, people come down here to South Florida. They want to play the Bears Club. You know, and the Bears Club have unaccompanied tee times. If the member knows somebody that can help them get on. I mean, we're not snobs. We want to help people go play Cypress Point and Seminole and the Augusta National. Dream on, right? You know,
wow.
You know what, Bob? You know what the Augusta National should do? What they should do is create about 200 foursomes a year for $50,000 a foursome, and vet the guys and give everything back to some children's charity. Why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they do that?
I don't know.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, I just don't get it. But you know what? They'll eventually get it. They're learning slowly but surely, and it's a great space. It's a great place, but a little too snooty for me, man. I don't know. I don't like that. I like Darren. I like just to hang out with Darren. And a whole bunch of good guys, have a couple of beers, and who gives a shit about all this snooty crap, you know? That's not my forte, man. You know, I'm just what you see is what you get, and it's exactly what you're hearing from me tonight, right?
Well, that's terrific. I tell you, I know why Darren was bragging on you so much, and he thinks the world of you, and now I do too. I always thought the world of your dad, of course, but I didn't know him well. In fact, he was in Cuba when about a year and 2 months ago. He showed up the day after I left.
Really?
And he did a clinic and everything. At 81 years old, he's doing a clinic in Cuba.
Did Darren put a clinic on in Cuba?
No, your dad.
Oh my God! What he must be looking for some money. There's no way my dad would have gone to Cuba for nothing.
No, he went there. He went there probably looking because it was opening up at the time. It was supposedly.
Yeah.
And everybody was there. They got one golf course on the whole freaking country.
Well, it's a huge opportunity. I mean, to go to Cuba. I mean, they're going to build golf courses, and they've got all sorts of talented kids down there. And I mean, the more golf they play, the better. I mean, it is going to be But you know what the problem is, Bob? Everybody's looking just to make a buck, you know, as opposed to doing it from their passion or what's in their heart, you know. And that's the problem. You know, I just don't know how sincere and legit a lot of these players are, or these superstars.
Well, Greg Norman was there just
tight.
Before I got there.
Yeah, I know Norman's everywhere.
So Greg Norman was there first, and then I left, and then your dad came, and I was so sorry because I would have loved to watch him do his clinic. And
Yeah, my dad's very good. My dad's when my dad puts on the show, he's a real showman, and people love him. I've learned, I've sort of learned along the way on how to do that, and that's why I do so many corporate outings. And you know what? You wake up in the morning, you embrace people, you try to have fun, you try and laugh, because we don't know what tomorrow brings, Bob. I don't want to sound crazy, but you know what, man? Live each and every day to the fullest. That's what we're doing. On our Player Amateur app, there's going to be all sorts of motivational things. The game of golf doesn't make any difference what swing you use. It's all about the attitude and your mindset and how you forgive yourself for mistakes made and move on. And just your attitude, you embrace each and every day is so great, so important, and that's why I love Darren. And listen, guys, you realize that it's now 8:30. I had a scotch at 6. I wasn't allowed. Darren told me, he said, don't have any more than one scotch.
Why?
I've now got my wife back at the dinner table. We've got dinner on. She's irritated with me. I'm with you guys, so I'm going to say goodbye.
No, not a
And
problem. Listen, we're very
fabulous night.
And spend some time with us. And
it's been great. It's been great. All I can say is this, is if whoever your listeners are, whoever's on this webinar, they should take the Player Amateur into serious consideration. We're going to be there for all of our members through thick and thin. They're going to love it. We're going to keep adding all sorts of great value-added programs and discounts, et cetera, and just looking forward to upwards and onwards,
All right, you got it, Wayne. Go to your wife before you get beaten.
Yeah, thanks so much, Wayne, for coming on.
Hey, I love you, Darren. Take it easy, guys.
See ya.
Okay, in touch.
So, Darren, tell us a little, because you know more about this. I want to learn, and I'll find out more from you tomorrow when I see you down in Myrtle. But explain to the guys a little better how this whole thing goes.
Well, I'm glad I can talk for a little bit. I knew it was going to be bad news putting the two of you together.
You got the floor.
You got me.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to be said about it. I think first of all, I mean, the discounts are just unbelievable. If you look through all the different things that you can benefit from, that alone gets you your money back. It is. But I think everybody wants to be competitive, and it's difficult to find different leagues to play in, the times. So this you can kind of play on your own time and where you want to play. And like Wayne was saying, you get to play against people throughout the country, and even if you were on the moon.
So you could play against somebody else. Let's say you're playing in Myrtle Beach and I'm playing in Virginia, and we could, in a sense, match cards.
Exactly. Essentially, things along those lines.
Because of the slope on the golf course, then, so you even
supposedly
you even out the golf course with the slope.
Yep, and it's all calculated for you. There's nothing that you have to do. Once you set up your profile and you punch in and your score, the player tour takes care of everything.
So then there are evidently these tournaments, though. What did you call them? Scrambles or something, where we hold one of those, and if they win a trip.
Well, you have to progress through a bunch of different things, but yeah, I mean, eventually that's kind of the goal, winning these different prizes. And I'll tell you one thing: if you want to go to Augusta, Wayne is the man to be doing it with. He's been doing it for many, many years. I've sent him some guys, and from the housing to the experience, there's nothing better. So whether or not you're on the player tour, if you want to go to Augusta and have an experience, it's a little expensive, but Wayne will give you a handheld tour of the place. It's pretty amazing.
Really? So tell us about that. What is that? Does that mean playing the golf course itself? No, right?
Yeah, not playing the golf course, but like I said, he'll give you the handheld tour. A couple tournament days, housing, everything that's really involved there, and it really is special.
The Masters itself.
Yep.
And he gets you the room and gets everything.
Yep, the room, the tickets, everything. It's a neat experience.
Wow, so that has to cost a few bob, as they say.
It is, but it's, if you haven't been to the Masters and you have the money, you got to do it.
I've never been to the Masters.
I don't think you're allowed there, are you, Bobby?
I don't think so. There's a lot of places I've been thrown out of. So, any questions from anybody? Throw out some questions here. Maybe all the microphones are broken. Nobody's got a question? The mics are open.
I'm just kind of wondering how you do in the scramble events, where you would have team things. Is that at a specified course,
Well,
or is that still everywhere?
I'm going to get with Darren tomorrow, and I'm going to find out, because I think what you can do is you could have one at any of your home courses. Is that right, Darren? In other words,
Yep, yeah, yep.
So, Steve, where are you, Steve? What state are you in?
I'm in King George. I play down. In fact, I'll be down at Pendleton for Golf Channel on the 31st of March.
The Golf Channel.
Yep.
They're having a tournament there?
Yep, 31st.
We're called the Anti-Golf Channel.
Yeah, I know. I got that earlier in the show. But I didn't hear, I've never heard of this one till now. So.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you the flexibility for a lot of things, to play local tournaments and then to play nationwide. So there's a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, I've got the site bookmarked right now, so I will be reading up on it here over the next couple of days.
I'll get with Darren tomorrow. We'll send you a code so that when you
capital PAM, that PAM is the code, but we'll send you some information on it.
Yeah, Bobby's got my email somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
Obviously, I get these meeting invites.
Darren, is there a season, or how many rounds do you play?
It's yeah, I mean, there's a finale that you gather and points and at the end of the year, yeah, I mean, there's an ending point, but you can play as much or as little as you want.
I'll read up on it.
I'll get with Darren tomorrow, and Darren can get me up to speed. He knows a lot more about it than I do. And then we'll set up some events at Pendleton, so we can do them right there.
How old is the tour?
What
was the question?
How old is the tour?
That's brand new. Yeah, it just started recently.
He said it was in its infancy.
Yep, brand new.
But it's got the players behind it, and then they don't put their name on something lightly.
No.
So they'll have the wherewithal to see it through.
So you'll be flighted by Handicap?
Depending on the event, yes, it'll be something along those lines. Yeah, there'll be different flights.
Now, can you get Handicap with something like this? Why not for some people?
Oh yeah, no. Wayne will take care of it. It's I want to say he said it was like 5 scores. You got to put 5 scores in, and then he'll give you a handicap. But like he was saying, it's there's an algorithm to it, and it's all automated really. But yeah, I think you need 5 scores to get a handicap. Yeah, they'll do it for you.
So it'll just be by handicap and not by age.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the handicap is all that matters. The ball doesn't know how old you are.
That's right. It's very interesting. It's an interesting concept.
Well, it gives you a chance to compete sort of online with other golfers all around the country. And who knows, you make contacts with different other ones that are members, and you say, hey, I'm going to be in Ohio next week on business, whatever. And the guy says, hey, yeah, come on over and play at our place. As a way to make friends with other golfers, I guess. Right online to the group. Don't you think, Darren, or is it?
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. I mean, I'm all about making connections and building my Rolodex every day. And you never know who you're going to run into, or, that whole 6 degrees of separation is scary. It really is.
So, any other questions about the golf swing or anything that Darren can help you with?
Did you say with the golf swing?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of my misses are off the toe. Need to correct that.
You got to stand closer, right? Obviously, right?
That's what I seem to be getting.
Where's your video? Have you sent a video to us?
Oh no, I haven't sent. You've got videos of me, but they look pretty horrible from a couple of years back.
From a couple years back. Well, I wouldn't have them here in the system here, most likely.
Yeah.
Here's Wayne's. I was going to ask him some questions.
Yeah, so I can comment a little bit on this, Bobby, and I can share some experiences that I had with Wayne. So in this here, you can see that he's got the grip, that he's teed it up.
Oh,
that's about 14 inches off the ground, right?
Right.
And when I first started doing this with Wayne, this was back in 2001, there was no limit on how high you can tee a golf ball. Nowadays, the rules permit 4 inches as the maximum height. So back then, this was completely legal, right? And I played 2 years on a South Florida tour, teeing it up just like this. And what I didn't realize back then, but I realize now, is that it helps you hit up on it, which helps you hit it a lot farther. So not only are you a little more rounded and a little more level, like Wayne was saying, but you're also increasing your angle of attack, which helps you get more distance. And I don't know if Wayne realized it back then. We realize it now because we have TrackMan and we can measure things, but that's a huge benefit of teeing it high like that. So Wayne would do a lot of clinics, making swings with that grip and a tee on the top of it. And I'll tell you, if I had 26 tournaments and 2 rounds per tournament, I think I maybe missed 2 or 3 fairways back then for 2 years. I hit it so straight, teeing it off the grip like that. It's amazing. It's a good drill to practice.
Now, why would not just having more loft on the golf club do the same thing? I know why, but I'm just going to ask you that question.
More loft. Well, no, you're changing your attack into the golf ball. So, loft is one thing, but you have to have it in reference to how the club is moving into the ball. And that's really one of the key factors here. The club is moving into the ball more level or slightly up, at least in this case, and not down. So many people tee the golf ball just a half an inch off the ground, and they have no chance to start. At least with the ball on a tee with a grip like this, you can swing more level, swing more up, and that's going to reduce the spin rate dramatically.
All right, so you're talking spin rate, because the way I've thought it to be as well, from building so many golf clubs and talking with what the heck's his name? Used to own that. Oh, Jeff Jackson, who's a real genius at building golf clubs and stuff. And the less loft on the golf club, the more direct pressure on the golf ball. You can press the ball more. So if you can tee the ball up higher and you can swing up on it and provide launch angle with that, and be able to diminish it like you're doing with Pitbull, where he has a 4 degree. What is his driver, like 4 degrees?
Yeah, 4 degrees. Yep.
Right. So he can get more pressure on the golf ball, where anything that has more loft is a glancing blow.
Yeah, exactly. So I call it force, and that's kind of the equation for distance. You have force, you have speed, but there's a relationship there between the loft and how the club is traveling into the ball. So you have to have that relationship right. So one of the two can change a little bit, but it's a relationship between the two. So everybody's got this impression that you got to hit down to spin the ball. It's not necessarily the case. It's a relationship between the two, between the angle of the face and how the club is traveling into the ball.
All right. Any questions? Does this make sense to anybody?
The other night on the Golf Channel, Martin Hall was talking about the best degrees to get the loft you're talking about when you play it up front and get it less spin and higher the higher it goes, is a 10 to 12 degree driver. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but the problem is now you have more of a glancing blow. You're not going to put as much pressure on the golf ball.
And you know, like I said, the loft, and it's the angle that the club is coming into. So I think optimal numbers for most people are going to be somewhere in the 17 to 19 degree range. So if you've got, let's say, a 10 degree driver, assuming you're hitting it in the center of the face, and you're swinging up on it 5 or 6 degrees, you might get a launch angle somewhere around there. The Pitbull's a different situation. He's swinging at 135 miles an hour. That's a little different case. But I think for most people, you've got to have that window around 17 to 19 degrees with a spin rate of about 2,000. So we can categorize it, I think, for most people right in that window. So you can change the loft, and you can change your angle of attack. So if your angle of attack is down a little more, let's say a negative number, you're going to need a driver of 15, 16 degrees to get to that launch window, which we don't see many drivers at that amount. And that's why some people hit their 3-wood farther than their driver, because their 3-wood's 15, 16 degrees. So there's a combination of the two. You got to remember that. It's a marriage between the two. And we all know what happens in marriage.
Not me.
Not you, Robbie.
And I was just going to say, and it also that the lack of club head speed. In other words, if get some people to say, hey, I can't hit my driver further than my 3-wood. You say, yeah, because you can't swing your driver any faster than you're swinging your 3-wood. And if anything, the ball will go even less distance, because if you don't have enough speed, that's what happens to guys that get to the 6-iron and max out, or a lot of women golfers. You probably see that a lot, Darren, don't you? Where they max out at the 6-iron and they go, I can't hit my other clubs any further.
I hit them all the same distance, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, because you can't swing the club any faster.
Yep.
See, the whole idea of making each club a half an inch longer is that the club will go a little faster.
Yep.
In theory.
Interesting that you bring that up, Bobby. I had one of the kids at the college that I teach at. He came out today for a lesson. His name's Brandon, and he was born without any fingers, right? So he swings the golf club a little bit differently than most of us. And what he does is he's got these golf clubs. They're 60 inches long, and he tucks the golf club under his lead armpit, and then he braces what fingers he has on the golf club. And it's truly amazing to watch a kid like this put a move on the golf ball without really any fingers. He tucks it under that lead arm. It was pretty amazing to watch how he hit golf balls today. I was really impressed.
Well, I'm impressed that you take the time to help out kids like that. I mean, that's what Wayne was just talking about, and that's what it's all about. I mean, I used to go to I don't know how I quit doing it, but I used to do a lot of stuff for the USO, and I went up to the it's not there anymore. What's the name of that hospital up there in D.C.?
Walter Reed.
Well, Walter Reed.
Walter Reed.
Yep.
And I tell you what, there was these demonstrators out in front with these coffins and stuff, and I almost threw a rock at them. Because when I went inside and I saw, the first thing I saw was this one guy was running with his wife, and he was running with a prosthesis on. And he was running laps around the hospital trying to get back in shape. He wanted to go back with his unit. Those are the real ones. Those are the real guys. I mean, that's just it's amazing, and you got to take time to do something like that. So I salute you, Darren. I take
thanks, Bob.
So what's the best drill to increase club head speed?
There's a couple things you can think about. First of all, it's length of swing. So to create speed, you have to swing the club back, which means your body has to move. Most people get so controlling when it comes to their driver. They want to swing short because they don't want to miss big. So you have to get that golf club swinging back more, which might mean that your lead foot needs to come off the ground so your hips can turn, so your shoulders can turn, so your arms can swing. But I think in general, most people, they get so controlling that they shorten their swing. To get club head speed, you have to have length. You have to have length.
Well, Jack Nicklaus had. I mean, he was one of the first as you saw this big long. I remember when I was a kid and all the experts were saying Nicklaus would never make it, that he had his flying elbow, that he had no chance.
Right. Yep.
So they were right, weren't they? All
Yeah.
the experts. No, Nicklaus has no chance, and and he could just flat hit it past everybody in his early years. Nobody would catch him, and he was a big kid too.
And Jack always had that extra notch or that extra gear when he needed it, and he never really used it. He used it on occasion,
Right.
but he even had more than what you saw.
Yeah.
Martin Hall said
especially with
one
his
night on the
irons.
Golf Channel that Nicklaus said the most important thing he concentrated on in his swing was making sure he had his left shoulder perpendicular to the ball in the backswing.
Yeah, so Martin, I studied under Martin for many, many, many years. I probably watched Martin give maybe about 300 lessons. And Martin used to work for or was involved with Nicholas Flick. So Martin was Jim Flick's lead instructor. So Martin got to spend a lot of time around Jack, probably just about as much as I did. So Martin had such a great opportunity to nitpick, Jack's brain on some of the things that he thought was important. And that lead shoulder, how that lead shoulder moves. That lead shoulder, Jack would always say, was kind of the bottom of the swing or the center of the swing arc. So if you're moving that lead shoulder around laterally, you're moving around the bottom of the swing. And Jack wanted to keep the center of the swing pretty much in the same place all the time. So that lead shoulder would work a little bit under as opposed to it working laterally and getting that lead shoulder over the right foot that you hear a lot of times. So that shoulder would be a little bit more stable. Even though he'd have a big shoulder turn, it would stay in place as opposed to moving laterally over the trail foot.
Yeah, I heard we had one of the students called me and said that he saw Martin Hall was using our drill, the one where you took your elbow all the way to the right toe and then pulled down with your hand.
Yes, I saw him use it on TV on the
You
channel.
see that? So now we got to call him and call him a pigeon-chested tosser.
Well, I'll
listen.
tell you one thing about Martin, and this is a true story, and I fall victim of this all the time, is that Martin doesn't really have many original ideas, and he gets all his ideas from watching great people, watching people who do it the best. But Martin also gives everybody the credit. Every single lesson that I've watched Martin give, whatever drill or technique or thought he was giving, he would give a reference and where he got it from, whether it be John Jacobs or Jim Flick. He was tremendous with it. And most of us have this ego where we want to claim ownership to everything we talk about. And that's where I get that from with Martin, that, I'm always giving praise to somebody else because that's where I got my ideas from.
And really, this drill wasn't my invention. It was really this student's right here. And what the heck's his name now? I can't. That's terrible. But it actually came from him. It didn't come from me. And almost all these drills are known by just about everybody. I mean,
Sure.
it isn't. I don't. The fact that he was doing it, maybe he saw it somewhere else, or he had it in his repertoire anyway. But if he did happen to see it from what we're doing, they say, copy, or doing it is the biggest form of flattery, or what have you.
No doubt, right? No
Right?
doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. You know how many drills I've stolen from everybody else? About 15 billion. But it wasn't me that came up with it. It was the student. See, no, but he does it wrong right there. See, and that's what I told him. I said, no, 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 no. You got to stay right there. Don't move and drop the hand. So then another student came up with this. It wasn't me. He says, oh, I got it. He goes to the gym and he puts his elbow there and he does this. So some of the best ideas come from the students, I think, in a lot of ways. But I think the real talent, Darren, is knowing that whatever ails that person, this particular drill is going to actually give them some results. Because you can join any one of these sites that have 15 million drills in a vault, and what good does that do you if you don't know which one to use?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like going to a pharmacy and you walk in there and they say, here's the key to the pharmacy. Take any pill you want, and by the time you get to the fourth pill, you killed yourself.
Yep.
You
Hey,
know?
Bobby, this is Jeff Crabb.
Go ahead.
Good, Jeff.
Hey, Bobby. Yeah, I was the one that went to the gym and kind of put my elbow on the wall.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm looking at you, Jeff.
is that you, Jeff?
Yeah.
Perfect. There you
Yes,
go.
it
See?
is. Uh-huh.
I have those shoes, Jeff. I have those sneakers. I have the same exact sneakers. Love them.
Really?
Oh,
Yep.
good.
Well, I'm gonna have to steal it from
Autograph.
you.
Yeah,
The Cubans do. They'll steal the sneakers. You'll be lucky if you have tires in
Yeah,
your car
but-
after I leave Myrtle.
yeah, it was pretty cool because had been watching a bunch of stuff, and I thought, while I was at the gym, I said, you know what? If I just kept my elbow on the wall, I could probably just get that feeling of that right arm coming up under you, and it's made a big difference.
Well, good. Any other questions? If not, we'll call it a night. Darren, I will see you tomorrow.
Sounds good, Bobby.
What time are you there tomorrow? By time you get over there, what is it, like 2:00 or something?
I've got the 2 classes at the college from 8 to 12. I should be at Harborview by 12:30.
That early? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'll be there.
And then I'm booked the rest of the day. So.
Well, we're gonna have some fun. All right, gang. If and just wait for Darren and I to get a hold of you, and we'll get you all set up with this player tour. I'm gonna get in and get a handicap of about 50, and I'm gonna kill you guys. Why not? Everybody else does it. I'm only kidding. All right. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Aaron.
Good night.
Good night.